Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love in Action show with me, Alpa Soni. Today, I've been excited all day like a kid because I have this wonderful special guest on the show, and I'm not sure why I haven't had her earlier. Laura, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. I've been so excited too. Alpa, thank you for having me. I look forward to interviewing you. And you and Nick are just so amazing. So this is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, we've been on a few shows together, Laura, haven't we? But every time I sat there talking to you, I was like secretly wanting to ask you so many questions personally. And it's just like, with me not doing shows regularly, you've always been on my radar and you're just a woman of many talents. But there is so much going on today. And it's so weird when I titled this show, Making Sense of the Global Madness. I was just typing your name to get your photo for the flyer. And then I actually saw that you had a show that was called that some time back, about a year ago, right?
Yeah, something
So,
about that. Navigating the madness or upgrading in the face of adversity. Because, gosh, so when I saw the title, I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, making
yeah, well,
sense of the madness, navigating the madness together with friends like you is great too."
yeah, I mean, the last year, I feel like I keep saying the same thing, but we are really going through a global revolution, Laura, and there's so many different energies that are out there. And you and I have spoken about this many times on other shows. So let's make that a starting point today. 3 years in, 3 years into this mayhem that we call the scamdemic, and there's so many things that we all have learned within the community called the truth community. The emotions have run high, the expectations have gone here, there, and everywhere. Right now, in this very moment, with all the planets out of retrograde, you being an astrologer, what's your take on what's going on in this global mayhem?
Yeah. Well, it really did start with the 2019 Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter conjunction that really kick-started this sort of dark night of the soul transformative journey of the collective, right? And how that has hit us all in our own personal lives. And a lot of different aspects, began to move, like the North Node in the sign of I think it was Capricorn or Cancer that moved into the North Node Gemini. So the North Node Cancer and the South Node Capricorn moving into the North Node Gemini. I mean, it has a lot to do with what we're here to integrate as far as our greater destiny as a humanity, right? So this is what's been targeted: our truth, our voices, our throat chakra, masking, covering that up. And so it's very interesting to see because they always leverage the shadow side of planetary energies and alignments. And it's up to us to kind of step away from the inversions and get the initiations that it's actually providing, which is why this is such a sort of profound window period that's been prophesized. This ascension window period, stellar activation cycle based in the geophysics of the planet and aligning the galactic cores of Andromeda and Milky Way and what that does to our DNA, how that activates dormant DNA. And so the inversions are, okay, well, how can we weaponize that? How can we stunt the growth? And that's what this scandemic has been all about. So now we just had a new moon in Aquarius, and we're still dealing with Saturn Uranus square. So Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, is still getting that square, which is friction and challenge coming from Saturn, which is the dark side of Saturn, right? The tyranny, the control. But if we take it upon ourselves to raise the octave of Saturn, which is self-mastery and being a teacher, we can navigate and overcome the obstacles because we're moving through the initiations. We're seeing the power struggle, but we're not giving our power over to it. Now, a lot of people have, but they can get themselves back. With Pluto moving into Aquarius and the high frequencies of Uranus, to me, that's like the override frequency. It connects us with sovereignty and truth. And I feel the truth frequency and the ether energies coming in from Ophiuchus and just the mother and the planetary consciousness can be that override frequency that creates that alchemical shift in the body that can turn lead into gold, on a soul level, right? So products like what you're talking about and other important tools and modalities are very much a part of assisting that process, because really, to me, the mind control has to be broken and social engineering has to be broken, number one, for the rest to be able to happen. Because to me, that's where the weapon hurts us the most. And I think if a person did compromise themselves, as long as they're aligned with truth, they can override that frequency. Because if it was enough to blast us with the bioweapons, they wouldn't bother with the social engineering, the social media insanity, the censorship, all the stuff we see through fake media, all the tactics of divide and conquer. If we can break that connection, then the bioweapon is no longer weaponized, because we have become the override frequency. And I call us like the 5D towers instead of 5G, right? When we override it, we're in fifth chakra, fifth element ether, purifying our throat chakra, and then we're speaking truth. And I feel we can activate and help those that have kind of gone down the wrong path through holding unconditional love and forgiveness and patience. And everybody's been tested. It's been really painful, no doubt. I know you and I, we've shared a bit about what roller coaster it's put us on, and a lot of people have. So that's a little bit of the astrology. I haven't looked at it. I hope I got that all correct, but yeah.
I know that. There's some fascinating insights, because I just want to kind of cast our minds back to 2022. You mentioned the biohacking and the mental kind of mental hacking that was happening to all of us. And if we were to look at 2020, 2021, and then you have 2022, if I was to sort of dissect all those 3 years, for me, 2020 gave us the sort of lenses, the 2020 vision to see what was going on. We all went our own sort of merry way, trying to research everything that was going on. And there was this kind of egotistical, I wouldn't say it was deliberate, Laura, but it was this kind of newfound, like, here we go, here's the truth, and bombarding everybody with the truth and trying to save the world, all meant with the best intentions. You get 2021 and we're all kind of like simmering in this hope that something's going to happen. And then 2022 hits. And I think personally for me, and you can shed light on this, but that 2022 was perhaps one of the most arduous and testing years out of the 3. And as we sort of embark on this journey of 2023, I'm kind of at this sort of stationary place where it's neutrality, and it's like, right, with a bit more wisdom in terms of numerology, we've hit a 7-year, but 2022, we were hit with many portals. What was your take on that? Like, I found it the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the hardest. And so after the Gemini North Node and all the kind of blocking of throat chakra stuff, we've moved into North Node, Taurus, South Node, Scorpio, right? So South Node has to do with the past, has to do with what the foundational energy is that we need to move forward from. So after all the plutonic stuff that really does open portals, all the transformative energy, where humanity and each of us, even though we've all gone through a lot of dark night of the souls already and underworld journeys, to me, it's the creative cauldron of the mother. It's also where we birth and regenerate and rise like the phoenix and come out like the butterfly. But when people are afraid of the cocoon and they feel trapped in it, and they don't go through the initiation, the outer forces that want to enslave become the real trap and the mind control and the thing that causes a person to fear their own emergence, to the point where they're going to make choices that can keep them stunted. So now that the South Node is Scorpio, it's forcing us to look at that plutonic energy and ask ourselves, where are we on the death, rebirth, alchemical process? Have we allowed ourselves to be trapped in the cocoon? Have we allowed ourselves to fear death? Have we allowed ourselves to fear our own power? Because Pluto takes us into a really deep power. But the reason I think it was so hard is the empathic overload, the shock of friends and families, maybe stance on it all, or what the perception of it all, feeling maybe not taken seriously, not listened to, and feeling it like reach an all-time peak. I have really felt like, wow, it's really showing where everybody's at, and look at how much division is happening. So like you said, in this kind of time now, with the help of the Uranus energies, Pluto moving into Aquarius out of Capricorn, which is like, even though they're going to still invert all this, there is an easier time with neutrality, acceptance, maybe reaction on an emotional level, empathic overload, and feeling maybe the pain of it all. I'm really hoping for sure. And it's good that you're feeling that. And that really shows how much you've been able to move through this greater initiation, and how that translates into humanity's movement into this transformative cycle that many have chosen to fear instead of embrace. Now, is it going to be doom and gloom for them? I don't feel, as long as they can break the mind control, maybe admit like, whoop, maybe that wasn't the best idea, then their body can function in a completely different frequency. And I don't think there's anything that we can't heal or cure. And I think some of the higher portal energies that people have entered have helped open their eyes to who we truly are and what our greater potential is, because we have all this dormant DNA and parts of our brain we haven't even used. So if we need to still switch that on, won't that be the antidote to all this madness? And understanding the mother, the ether element, which is the substance of alchemy that actually creates alchemical shifts and miracles. But those are natural, organic miracles, not like, so go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love the wisdom that you share. I find this stuff fascinating. I always say, Laura, I know absolutely nothing. I kind of feel that sometimes I'm led intuitively, not sometimes, actually all the time, because I'm not well read on all of this esoteric wisdom. But there's been nuggets of wisdom that I've picked, and I've kind of embraced it and then intuitively been led.
Yeah, you didn't need to know it.
Yeah. And as am I right in saying, just so that just want to welcome everybody in the chat, by the way, Nick is coming on shortly. I did say that I want Laura all to myself for the first 15 minutes at least, just to have a little bit of girl power here. But Nick is in the room, so we will be having him on the show very, very shortly. But just before we bring him on board, Laura, so apparently we've moved out of a Mercury retrograde. Mm-hmm. And the Mars retrograde just finished recently as well. Yeah. Now, as we were coming to an end of the Mars retrograde, and if I'm not wrong, Mars represents a lot of strong emotions, anger, and it's been in retrograde for some time. I'm not sure about everyone in the house right now, but I felt that, and it was almost like when I found out a few days later that it's now stationary and embarking to go forward. It was like something had lifted within me, and I didn't know any of this. And then, you sort of like see what's going on with the moon and the stars, right? I need to know, because otherwise I'm going batshit crazy.
Oh my God. That's why I check on the stars. I usually do. I mean, I'm kind of like navigate intuitively, right? But when it's just like, what in the F? Then I check in just to assist other people that want to use it as a tool doing readings, but it's not like I'm constantly looking. But when stuff gets really wild and difficult, I'm like, what is going on? I mean, I regularly check because of the subscribers now more than I used to, but you have so much intuition, you get natural downloads. I mean, those aspects you're riding with on a very organic level, flowing with the initiations and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I was really affected by the Mars Gemini retrograde, and I completely felt the lift. And I was like counting down the days. I'm like, January 13th, it's going to go directly. Usually I don't obsess or really, it's like retrogrades are a time of introspection, but Mars and Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury on top of the Mercury retrograde later, that's like a Mercury retrograde on steroids. You put the Mars energy in, and I was like, where is it transiting my chart? Oh, great. My 7th house of relationship. No wonder I'm like volcanic. I'm like, everybody needs to give me space. And I'm like, oh my God, it's because Mars is traveling through my 7th house in retrograde. And I'm like having all this, pulling up the archives, my mind just really going way too inward. I'm just like, oh my God, I would stay away from me if I were you. I'll just write instead. But yeah,
I love you, Laura, because it's this raw, authentic kind of, energy that you bring, and then that we all embrace. I mean, I've been reading your Facebook posts recently, and I'm always drawn to them. So before we bring Nick on, one last question that I have is that how do you combat these energies with every sort of angle? You must be bombarded with your knowledge, with your intuitive compass, and of course everything that you are doing, and the wisdom that you're sharing. You're a human being as well, with so much knowledge, but with these energies, they affect you as well. Of course they do.
Oh, incredibly. Yeah. And I try and not take certain things personally. I'm used to trolls and attacks. I can delete them and whatever. Sometimes I laugh, but when it's somebody closer, when it's somebody that I've invested time in and care, I'm like, whoa, and I feel that kick in the gut. Sometimes it takes me a little while to recover. And so I'm really working on the neutrality. But at the same time, it's like misunderstanding doesn't need to be here. Like, you want, and I don't want to be on the defense. I don't want to be in reaction mode, but it's like, why does disharmony have to happen? Why does conflict have to come out of this? Because it doesn't have to be this way. These are projections. These are like, and I understand it's like I have to step back, but those times where it's really late and I accidentally maybe text the wrong person and the Mercury, I call it F you grade, fuck you grade. I'm sorry if I was able to say that on air, but that's what it's been like. And so some weird timing with email exchanges that went to the wrong person, and that was fun. But there is a lot of attack, you know, and I feel like I was born into this family to help protect his administration from all the disinformation and lies. And I know we all came in as a team, and there's a lot of information about this migration that came in of very advanced souls after 1952. And I just feel like the synchronicities and our teamwork of like us in this community and beyond, you know, community that have come together and that are navigating this together with as much humility, integrity, and openness as we possibly can muster while listening to each other, learning from each other, like I do from you and Nick. We've got this. We came in for this. But yeah, I mean, the knowledge was more like just to keep me alive, like, you know, navigating the madness of just my whole life path. Like, what in the F, you know, like doing my cards, doing the I Ching, like, help me. So that's where I learned it.
I love that. And speaking of Nick, thank you for sharing that. And I think we should bring him on board. There he is.
Hey, what's up? Oh, I wasn't paying
Good to
attention.
see you.
Nice to see you. How's everyone?
What Laura was saying. Welcome, Nick. I haven't had you on the show for a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and saying hi to me. This is awesome.
Absolutely. I'm resonating deeply with your forecast. It's interesting, you know, when people start to pay attention to how astral weather and what's going on up there affects what's going on in here. You know, as above, so below isn't necessarily a satanic saying. It's it has insight into it. And I like what you're saying because it's true. I've not been so on my mastery like I am now in years, and everything has lined up to make it that way. Like I've pretty much been a bum for the last 3 years. Every hotel I lived in, every couch, every person's house, I've still been able to make movies. But
I know, it's amazing.
Right? I know. I remember taking photos of my whole studio that I would take to new hotel rooms. And so like now I have my own place, and in that safety, like I'm able to process all the fucking chaos that went on over the last 3 years. Like if someone knocks really loud, the first thing I think of is the FBI at the door.
Oh, I know, me too.
Yeah. It's like, that's what happened. And I never realized like, oh yeah.
Oh my God, thank God it's a neighbor. Like, and you're just like, you know, somebody's blocking your driveway.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, we're ready to come to the door. Like,
yeah, and it was hard to actually experience fucking SWAT come in and arrest.
I can't imagine with the movies you put out, and I mean, whoa, how you must be feeling that when you get those knocks or even call or anything.
I know.
Both of you, like,
I'm learning to be cool with it and to understand the things that I didn't have time to understand, and everything going direct is, I feel it more so now than ever. And
stronger.
Yeah. What's up with Uranus? What's the power there? Because
Uranus is incredible. It's the planet of shock and upheaval that leads to great awakening. So a person that might be a little bit more unconscious to what's going on in the world, if they have a Uranus transit, meaning where the planet is hitting them in their own personal life, or they have a progression moving close to Uranus, or they're working out a squared aspect they have in their chart, or any aspect, you know, that might receive some attention based on where the other planets are when it activates it, it can be really destabilizing at first. And a person can sometimes feel like things are coming out of left field. Like, why is this happening? Why did I lose my job? This breakup? You know, why is this maybe failing? And if they don't realize it's Uranus and it's a blessing in disguise and it's helping to upgrade, like remove you from things that might not serve you in the larger picture in your own personal life, it takes us somewhere greater, right? So the things that don't work out, sometimes people don't accept, right? You know, there's heartache, there's confusion. What did I do wrong? But if we know it's Uranus doing it, I always reassure my clients, like, oh no, it's Uranus. Uranus has your back. Don't worry about it. Because they're like, why is this happening? And I'm like, oh no, Uranus is cool, you know? And I've had to remind myself of that because, and usually though, because it connects with our higher mind, authenticity, sovereignty, and truth, we can intuitively feel when a change needs to happen. We might even start to initiate that change, but it kind of has the wind behind us and has our back. But if we are unconscious to that change needing to happen, sometimes we hold on for dear life, and it can really start to infect the nervous system, create anxiety, panic attacks, because it's a high electrical energy that stimulates the nervous system big time.
Wow. How long does Uranus stay, or because it's so far away, is the retro period like a number of years?
It lasts for quite a while. It's a slow moving planet. the retrograde can last for months and months, years. I think there have been, I mean, usually the retrograde period is pretty much the same. I can't remember the exact date, but Uranus just went direct.
3 weeks,
So,
or it's with Uranus?
yeah, it's a couple of weeks, and I think, yeah, okay. So I don't know. Some of the slower moving planets might be longer because there's Pluto, Neptune, Uranus are the slow moving planets. So their retrogrades tend to be longer. Mars has been retrograde since October 30th, right after Halloween. That's kind of a long time.
Yeah.
So Uranus just went direct in the sign of Taurus. So I think that's also going to help us with everything moving direct, because Uranus works really well with Mercury. When Mercury and Uranus cross paths, it helps with downloads, epiphanies, insights, because it's like that sort of like shock and upheaval. Sometimes it's like, whoa, I just have an epiphany. I mean, you guys totally run that energy because you're like downloading, you're doing genius stuff with your creativity, you're putting out these movies. I bet you got like some major Uranus with your Mercury, because it creates genius, insights, and kind of like being able to do things in a really accelerated way, feeling like there's guidance, but it's coming from your higher mind and your connection to spirit, source, Mother Earth.
That's so on it. The biggest epiphany I had in the last 2 to 4 weeks was that I had been ignoring Alpa's suggestions and hints that I had high functioning autism, because I just entertained it as the idea of, sure, maybe I have ADHD. But after a few things unraveled, I completely had a shocking download after download moment of looking at my entire life and going, shit, man, I probably do have Asperger's. And no one could see it because of how uneducated my family was at the time. They didn't have internet. I'm telling my mom now, and she's going, you know, I'm talking to your dad, and I'm realizing all these things about you when you were younger that we didn't understand. And the way I've been able to handle it was just by intuition. I became a runner when I was younger. I became a meditator. I was always exercising. I had routine. The 9 to 5 was a blessing that I didn't realize until I let go of it. And now that I'm doing this and being thrown around the whole world and going to jail and sleeping on couches and hotels, all routine thrown out the window, my escape was making movies. So once I finally got to relax, I realized, holy shit, man, you cannot do this any longer. You're going to have a heart attack, or your nervous system's going to go crazy. And so I stopped running, and I found a part of me that was basically the peak of the spiritual self I developed. And now that's like who I am I am in it. And I have to say 100%, it has to do with a few things. One of the things is, January 1st, I stopped eating everything but meat. And I've done it before. I know how good it is for me, because everything else can be an irritant for my body. And it's called the lion diet, which I find kind of cool, because
that's wild.
fucking lion. But then also I started taking ARII detox. I was like, let me try ARII detox.
Incredible.
Yeah. And one day I took ARII detox like just a madman, and I put way too much on my feet. And the next day I was literally immobilized. I was in bed like, oh my God, what's happening? Because it drains your lymph nodes.
Oh God. So it's a little too fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then you take the
very potent. It's very
wow.
You wouldn't think it, just because, you look at the ingredients and you're just like, okay, I can count how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 different types of plant material that are distilled and put in here. How would it work like that? But it does. Plant is the real medicine.
Yeah.
And so
like
a
lot of herbs, it's incredible, the power.
Yeah. And then ARII autism. I started taking ARII autism, and that's when all these epiphanies came. And I was like, oh my God, if I wasn't taking it, I probably wouldn't have had the ability to get off of the groove that I had created.
You were already doing these movies, right? Before you took it?
No, this is just like a week ago, like 2 weeks ago. A week ago.
So you've been doing these movies though before you even took it. So, and now, I mean, now I can't imagine what's going to come out if you were able to do all that before.
Exactly.
Your brain was functioning like really, really well. Now it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be wild.
Thanks.
But
yeah.
I mean, as a
I can't wait to take it. Hopefully that will.
My latest movie
that I have sometimes where, where you're kind of multitasking on a multidimensional level, that I call it multi-dementia, but it might be that I just need to heal some stuff in my brain. Sometimes the stress and stuff, like I try not to get stressed, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's really cool to hear. It was, I can't remember what I was gonna, but keep going. Yeah.
On that point, I just wanted to say that we can sort of get infatuated with labels and identity politics, what I call. But if we educate ourselves on ourselves and these like the subject of autism, for example, I was researching for the last 12 years, which is why then I could sort of be the observer and witness and observe people around me. And I think everybody has something, because we're bombarded with heavy metals in everything, from our foods and obviously, you know, from birth to this. So there is something that's going to be altering our brain chemistry. But I turn it around. And Laura, as you remember what we said on our last show, that we have the power within to spiritually and mentally, through our energetic powers, to kind of transmute and transcend, like, you know, all of this and all of these illnesses, because it's mind, body, and soul. So while we can sort of align with, right, I possibly could sit on the spectrum, we can turn it around and say that actually it's been the greatest gift for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
right. And I know this was, I mean, I thought of it, but I know other people had thought of this, but ADHD being attention on different higher dimensions. I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I was never in my body in school. I could never sit still. I skipped a lot. And it was always like, okay. Then my mom was like, I mean, I was one of those kids that was dropped on my head and, you know, that kind of, it's like, okay. And lots of projections. But then it's like, you know, selective learning. There's some things that I just knew, do not take this in. This is not truth, right? But I do know that I also had something that I needed to treat in order to help me at least be grounded so that I could navigate without feeling the intensity of everything, feeling knocked out of my body, feeling like a frequency mismatch. It's like I can like heal something in me so I can be more grounded and in my body. And I can let the part of my brain that does work, that seeks the information, knowledge that I have and going down the rabbit holes, and still honor that, but not have it be so difficult to function in the physical plane. And that's why I think there might be something like that in me too, that a lot of neurotropics and a lot of the brain stuff I have has helped. And I know this is going to be huge. I mean, the minute I saw the ad, I'm like messaging you, Alpa, on the what, I'm like, holy wow.
We're sending you some, don't worry, for
That's
sure.
incredible. Well,
really would love for you to try it, both.
I was in jail like 4 times in the last couple of years. And
Wait,
it doesn't ever go well. They usually call somebody like, please get her out of here, because I'm like yelling about the New World Order and this and that. And one time all the jail people were cheering me on. They're like, you tell her, sister. And then the cops just like, can you get her out of here, please?
You went to jail for real, for real?
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. One time for 2 nights, one time for a night. And one time, yeah, in San Mateo, I was followed and drugged, and they didn't get me any medical care at all, and I almost died.
No.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that happened last year.
Damn, dude, they followed you. They followed you like that and they drugged you. That's
well,
that's
this
not
was
a
after
surprise.
a conference, and I worked with somebody to get to the bottom of it. I mean, I really avoid substances when I travel, especially, and I'm trying to avoid them and just be on a healthy path as is, right? So I'm very, very careful, particularly when I'm traveling alone. And somebody approached me. It was like really late, and he was just like, "Oh, I know who you are. I've been watching, you know, this and that." And we just sort of, I don't know. I think I just had like some beverage that was on the banister while we were talking. Must have slipped something in there, and I didn't check out the next day. Instead, I was dragged out by the cops and thrown into a cell, a bloody cell, and they were literally physically harming me. And I was going to do bigger things, but I'm like, I got bigger battles to contend with than this. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, what happened? Or should we not talk about it as like personal?
No, we can totally update you. Yeah.
This is like an OMG moment, Laura. Like, I didn't know this. That must have just really thrown you off.
Yeah, it's taken a bit to recover from, but
yeah, it's bad.
Can you see what spiritually what's happening there is just stopping you on your journey from doing what you're doing and expanding and raising awareness, raising your consciousness and helping the collective consciousness? Because I know one thing that you stand for is this unity consciousness. So wherever it was you're going, I'm sure it was to sort of expand in positivity, but you kind of get distractions along
that's
the
usually
way.
when it happens, when I'm really like feeling really good, or, you know, I just did an event and it went really well. And I'm, you know, but there was a major meltdown with a friend of mine that it felt like it weakened me, or she had something to do with it as a conduit, but very unconscious. But I don't want to put any blame on anybody, but I have a long history with her. But anyway, it's a really long story, but thanks you guys. It's nice to be able to share it, because I haven't really talked about it much. But what's been happening with you guys as far as like law enforcement?
Oh yeah. So I mean, before we move on to that, I just want to say, yeah, hang in there. You're gonna heal through all that shit. Everything happens for a reason. Going to jail, all that. It might have been for your higher good. Who knows? But
I
it's also
like to spin things around. That's why I do upgrading in the face of adversity. So keep going.
yeah.
Yeah, I tried.
And I did that same thing when I was in jail. I red pilled as many people as I could, to the point where I built some relationships where some still text me from jail. They're like in their prison. They're going to be there for
Oh my
like
God,
5
but they're
years. And
so thrilled to meet you. Just like, whoa.
it was cool. And I often reflect on how fun it was, because the first 30 days was like summer camp with
You were
black
in there
dudes.
that long.
Yeah, it was 45 days. And the
Oh, I
last
think
2
we talked
weeks.
about this one time.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going though.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 weeks was going through 3 other jails to finally end up where the J6ers still are.
This was the J6 stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is when I realized, thank you, God, because the first jail I was in for 30 days, I was a celebrity. It was on Godwin Street. I kind of did a charity in there, and I bought everyone hot plates for weeks. And I found a way to do it. You know, like you can only buy 2 for yourself. So I'd be like, hey, man, I'm going to give you money. Buy 2 hot plates. Hey, you too. And that one's for Mark, but you can have that one. Like, so like eventually everyone was eating hot plates, and people were like, what the fuck, Nick? Who does this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't go to jail. I'm just trying to share the wealth. You know, people are donating. And so, but right now it's about to end up on 2 years since it happened.
Right.
I got arrested on, I think it was like February 8th. It's about to be 1 year in probation, and my community service is pretty much done. I fired my lawyer and then got a new one, a public defender, who very last minute said, let's just say that you're going to do 200 hours of community service so that the judge is nicer. And the judge already made up his mind. We didn't have to do the community service, but we did. And it led me to build a relationship with someone who's just like us all, but he's got Down syndrome. And he's doing the most epic shit ever. Like, he's going and putting makeup on Lance Bass for Lance Bass's photo shoot. He's going and being an assistant director for an A&E show. He's on People's Magazine twice on the cover.
Oh, I gotta look into this guy. Wow.
I'll text you his name. I can't say it publicly because of things, but like it's a blessing that like how everything is.
I mean, 1 day is nothing compared to like 30 or 45 days. It was just brutal treatment. I've been in jail other times where it was like, okay, you know, and it being around people, being exposed to people, some of it was a little bit dicey. The 4 days stint, but that was way long ago for other reasons. But no, I didn't have any contact with anybody. I was just yelling through the door, saying things. And I was like, I'm remembering all your face, you know. And then one guy, he's the only one that helped me. He's like, all right, just calm down. I got your back. And we were talking about our kids and our families. And he's like, I'll get you out of this. But he's just like, just calm down, okay? Because I was like, because I couldn't red pill or like talk to anybody. Not even that. The nurses would walk right past me, and I had been drugged, and I was like really sick. And I'm like, I need water. And the guy was just like, wow, he couldn't believe the way they were treating me. And he was the one that got me out. I would have maybe been in longer. I have no idea. But San Mateo is a really dark portal. I got some reads on it. But no, man, 30 to 45 days and just being able to be the person you were in that situation. And you are such an unforgettable person. It's just so cool to hear that the contacts are still there. And what was it like for you? Were you guys together when he went in there?
No.
Were you friends at that time?
No, like I came out of jail and I was like, hey, this is great. One of my fans was the only person that could take me in as a custodian. Nobody else could. I would have stayed in jail. And she let me live in her apartment in Redondo Beach, like 5 feet from the ocean. So
that's so incredible.
I remember like walking around being like, oh my God, air. And then I remember thinking like, God, you've given me a dream life. Where's my dream wife? And then here's the craziest part. For some spontaneous reason, I was like, I gotta get mobilized. I'm gonna go to Arizona. I'm gonna go to the London Bridge, because in Lake Havasu, they have the London Bridge. And
I've been there. We watched across it.
Yo,
the real London Bridge. My father, I was born in London, and he's British, right? He's just freaking out, like, this is the London Bridge. He still has an accent. Anyway, keep going. So you went there?
Yeah, I went there, and then ironically, that's when on my drive, I connected with Alpa a lot. And when I got there is when I connected with her, I think for the first time ever, really. I responded to an email and finally called her. And then, I mean, that's it. That's the beginning. That's like where we couldn't stop talking. I look back and I'm like, that's the London Bridge. What is the energy there that it's just so weird, you know? Sometimes I go moving around in the world like the tarot card, the Fool, not knowing why I'm doing it, but trusting the feeling. So the mind is mental. Intuition is like, all right, I feel it.
You don't even have to know the astro stuff either, but the archetypes.
Yes.
I mean, no, that is so amazing because I lived on the road and I traveled and I just really got used to it. And being in the sort of zero energy of communicating more with the universe, more with the earth, more with synchronicities, more with, I remember like when I go into a lower vibe about my situation, because after having kids and 2 kids living on the road, it's not easy, especially when the dad's not all sane. It was like when I was in a vibration of like, whoa, I'm screwed. Like nothing good would really happen. When I was in a vibration of I'm exactly where I need to be, I'm in the flow, I would like manifest money out of the ground. I would meet cool people. And I'm like, whoa, that change in perspective is everything. And I'm trying to like see like why I'm not finding money anymore out of the ground, but I was needing it big time then, right? So the miracles show up when you need it. Right now, I just work my butt off, but
they really
I
do
always work real hard.
Yeah,
but Laura, you have a magnificent energy, and I tell you that is really pulling you in the right directions, and also for you to impart this wisdom with people. Because Nick, you got to agree with me here. It's just what a magnetic energy. I mean, I just.
And that's probably why these dark forces are at you. Like a lot of the people I know who've done epic shit like you have, they almost want to throw in the towel right now because of what has happened.
I have to move through. Like I wouldn't say I would ever want to give up, but I sometimes have to own that feeling and move through it. It almost like, and then I tell those around me, like my husband and kids, well, especially my husband, I'm like, just look at it like I'm throwing up. You don't want to analyze what I'm saying. I just got to get this out of my system, but let's just flush it. We don't have to read into why I'm like going off right now. Like, I can't take this. And it's just temporary. It's just like throwing up. Okay. The words that are keepers though, I'll just say, yeah, you might want to listen to this one. And poor guy is just like, okay. But you guys are like beyond magnetic and incredible. So you were going into about the zero Fool card. So go back to that.
Well, to match what you were saying, quite recently, when I realized that I had autism, and then I realized, hold up, dude, like, why are you so stressed? What are you trying to control so much? And so much of Good Lion TV, I felt like would succeed only if I was doing it. And one day I just said, stop caring about it, dude. What is more important, your inner peace or trying to build something that's out of your control? And when I did that, surprisingly, everything just took care of itself in a way where I thought like, oh my God, like I literally did not give a fuck. And then everything that I thought I wanted came. And so now I have to really integrate not giving a fuck while giving enough of a fuck to keep doing what I'm doing.
God, that's it right there. That's like, I want to quote that.
Right. Give enough fucks. Yeah.
That's the place to be. Like we were talking about Alpa in the beginning, like finding this neutrality, moving into neutrality now that a lot of the retrogrades are over and just moving forward. Uranus going direct, Pluto's going to move into Aquarius, but of course they're going to invert that with the transhumanism, with dark technologies, which are the shadow side of Uranus, because every planet has a shadow, of course. And if we are riding the frequency of the shadow sides of the planet, then we're not initiating to the higher octaves, because the higher octave of Uranus is high vibrational technologies that help with healing, help with DNA activation, help with frequency, sound healing, connecting us to sovereignty, truth, authenticity. And that's why Aquarians and Uranus ruled people are very true to themselves, very much their own person, very misunderstood too, because they're free spirits. They don't play by the rules. They play by the rules of the law of structure connected to cosmic natural law more than what society tells you, which you guys do so brilliantly.
Oh, thank you.
And I love that, because you know, we're finding our own way, we're shining our own light. But at the end of the day, before we all came into this movement publicly, you know, we had our lives, right? And we were trying to navigate ourselves through these energies with the best intentions. But guess what? We are working through our own wounding as well, our own childhood trauma, our own things that happen bar this movement. And suddenly there's this expectation when you're in a public figure to be perfect. And this is sort of a testament to see how we've cultivated this kind of judgment practice where there is pressure on the truthers that, you know, you're a shill, you're a this, you're a that. And that's one of the main reasons that I kind of like moved away from the whole camaraderie. Everyone was great. We were all friends. Nick knows that's my favorite word. But and then you have to find your own feet and say, right, actually, what's going on within? If I'm going to be spreading love and light, I have to be it. But I have to also then acknowledge what's going on with my shadow side, with the darkness. And this is wounding that's screaming to come up and on the surface to be healed. And that is going to happen through circumstances, through the integration of our connections with people. Now, Mercury retrograde was a massive, massive reconnection energy for me. People were just surfing up from out of nowhere that I haven't spoken to for years.
Which is totally a Mercury retrograde thing.
Redoing, reestablishing, revisiting, reconnecting with self, your higher self. But the most important thing, Laura and Nick, you know this, is to remain grounded and stand tall in the face of this adversity, which you said earlier on, Laura, and finding self so that you can shine even brighter and accepting your warts and alls. I mean, I love the story you just shared. Yeah, that raw authenticity is your gift, Laura and Nick. And everyone here, I just want to thank you.
Oh my God, you're
in the house. You know, the numbers have just gone crazy. I haven't seen this. YouTube has shadow banned me for the last since 2020. I've been on pretty much the same numbers, right? But like,
me too. And I've dropped a lot of numbers. I'm like, it's funny that some are skyrocketing, but yeah, I think, I'm just, it's pretty wild. Yeah, but I mean, just what you're saying is just so huge. Having to really stay strong in the face of so much division and so much drama and conflict. It's been like, whoa, you know, and then guilt by association. If I ever did an event with C Good, you know, who I'm talking about, Corey, oops. Then I'm in the blue chicken cult and I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, I just did an event with him. And plus, you know, I keep people at arm's length. I focus on my own thing. I love conversations where we can just all listen to one another. We all have, you know, important pieces to share. That's how it kind of should be. And when those connections kind of fall apart or go to the wayside, I'm like similar. I just want to step back. I don't want to be yanked into it. If people are going to misunderstand me, that's fine. Truth doesn't need believers. If I'm being true to myself, whether you like me or not, is not going to make a difference to who I am and what my intent is and what I know I'm working on. And the thing is, Chiron, the wounded healer, rules Ophiuchus. Sun started moved through Ophiuchus in 2010, ruled by the ether. It's not ruled by a planet. It's ruled by an asteroid called Chiron, the wounded healer. So we are being tasked with facing our wounds, but we see people acting out their wounds, projecting their wounds, instead of being like, okay, this is what I'm trying to heal from, and being a little bit more transparent. That's why I love talking to you guys, because we're not like, you know, trying to carry a facade just because we're in the public eye. We're just like, this is what I'm going through. We're human. But let's like look at it with maturity so that when we come together and we try and navigate stuff with other people that we might have had as colleagues or friends in the past, and as we navigate relationship, that we can be honest, transparent, and mature, spiritually mature in our conversations, so that we can all heal together, realizing we all have a piece to heal. We are born into a gaping wound. Mother Earth needs healing. We're healing with her. So anybody who thinks they don't have something to heal or is acting it out or doing shame, blame, victim game are going to be very, very difficult to stay in connection with. But I always like to say there's always unconditional love. And as long as harmony returns, then forgiveness is there. And I forgive myself for when I, you know, have messed up in the past. And I just hope, you know, we all can do that and strive for that. And, you know, I fall down, get back up again. And I know you guys just have a certain self-honesty. I don't quite know how much you might feel that happens. Not so much if you dip down into that vibration, but when you let it hurt you, when you let friends that you used to be close with who say the wrong thing or betray or backstab, how much you guys are able to kind of just say, oh, well, I mean, is it getting easier? Did you guys like kind of struggle with that for a little bit?
I have an example. Like recently I moved out of this place I was living at, and this guy who I considered a friend, he didn't realize when I said I was going to move in 2 months that I was going to move in 2 months. And so when I'm moving out, he panicked because he's incredibly broke and he doesn't know how he's going to pay rent if I don't pay it. And then he took my $8,000 camera that was fundraised. I fundraised 2 of them. And he took it as hostage and said, I'm not going to give this to you until you pay rent. And I said, pay rent for a month that I'm not going to live here for? That's crazy. And then he violated me physically. He headbutted me so hard that his eye just kind of bursted with blood vessels. And so in that moment, I thought, all right, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't care about this camera right now. I don't have time to think about it. And as I left, I had that internal struggle of, you know what? Screw this guy. I hate him. But then it also went to, oh, he's in a impoverished mindset. If he gives the camera back, great. And then if not, let it go. It's out of your control, dude. And I remember one day I was filming Alpa here for a commercial for ARII. And I remember setting up my other cameras. And I was like, I really wish I had my other red camera here. And then a spontaneous moment of love came into me. And I said, you know what, dude? If you're going to keep that camera, please make something of yourself with it. It's a really good camera. Like, I know how much you loved it when I let you use it. Make something of yourself, bro. Don't sell it. And then that day, the roommate that we shared hit me up and said, hey, I got something for you. And I said, no way. It was the camera. The guy gave it back.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I have it's a sort of similar story I want to say just real quick. I just got back from Australia and Hong Kong. I went by myself doing conferences, and Hong Kong I almost didn't get out of because of the protests, right? This was 2019, I think, before the madness of pandemic stuff. Anyway, they wanted to reshoot either Above Majestic or Cosmic Secret. I can't remember. We originally shot in Hawaii and it went really well. But they're like, Corey's like, and the team are like, too many tropical birds, too much noise. We couldn't even hear. We got to reshoot. I had so much jet lag. I didn't know right from left. Do you ever travel so much and you wake up, you're like, where am I? Like, is this a hotel? Am I home? Like, what country am I in? And you look out the window, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, that's where I am. Anyway, so I was just having one of those kind of jet lag, lots of traveling. I had to jump on the plane to Portland. And I go to a restaurant and I just trying to unwind. And I walk out, I go to the 7-Eleven to get water. And I look around, I'm like, I can't remember what the hotel looks like. I'm like lost in Portland. And I just lean down. I'm about to text somebody and I'm just so tired. My credit card and my phone get stolen. I end up in a tent on the streets, right, for 2 days. Nobody knows where my husband calls the cops, puts out a missing person. I'm in a tent in the homeless area where everybody's doing like God only knows what drug, but I'm with a pregnant woman, right? And she's taking care of her baby. She's dealing with her husband. I'm telling her like I'm supposed to be doing this thing, and my husband's looking for me. I bet because I need to call him. I don't have my phone or credit card. And she finally, after day 2, takes out my phone and credit card. She goes, we're the ones who stole it. My husband stole it because we need to sell it so we can feed our babies. Then I went to the ATM, gave her a couple $100. And I said, thank you for giving me it back. And then I got a ride to the airport.
Whoa. How did you find that lady after you lost your stuff? Was she near?
I just wandered. I didn't know where to go. So I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I have no phone. I have no credit card. I'm wandering around. And I just ended up kind of wanting to sort of like ask around if anybody had seen it. And I know that was probably a stupid idea. I could have walked into some business and said something, but it was super late because I came in and it was like after 1 o'clock. I don't know. And I just ended up, I don't know. It was really close to the 7-Eleven in the part of town I already was in. And this pregnant woman, I don't know, just felt like this connection with her and just started ending up just hanging out with her, just kind of like, wow, I'm a mom. I can't imagine, I didn't really say that to her, but she really wanted to talk to me and connect too. And I think she thought that I was homeless. And I was trying to explain to her, I lived on the road and I might've been considered homeless before, just with the lifestyle I had. But no, I'm like stuck and I don't have a phone or credit card. And I was just going to maybe leave after that. But we just were bonding. And I just saw her kids and her husband and what she was dealing with and her kids just yanking on her. And she's in this tent. She's a really beautiful girl. And then by the end of it, and I just kind of crashed because I had so much jet lag and I had a comfortable spot in her tent. And then the next day, she's like, I feel really bad. Here's your credit card and here's your phone. And I said, well, I'll go to the ATM, give you guys a couple $100.
That's so beautiful. Wow.
It was nuts. See, I don't ever tell these kind of stories. So I love that we have like these crazy stories to tell each other.
Yeah,
but
no, that's good.
this is the energy of the Love and Action Show: truth, authenticity. We talk so much about, as I say, the geopolitical side of things. There's so many people doing that, but people want to get to know you, your energy, your authenticity, what the gift that you are, Laura and Nick,
You guys.
for the amazing work that you do. And it's inspiring for people, because we are going through some testing times. We have been for a while, and it's the same thing, but it's so important to understand that what's going on within the cosmos. I'm not saying we live by that and we govern it, and every day, right, what's Taurus saying today, or what's Saturn doing today, and then we can sort of follow that fear-based energy. Frequency is everything, energy is everything, and that love, that light. I mean, it's embracing your madness too. I mean, the first thing I said to Nick when I met him on 50 Shades of Grey, cray, crazy. And, and it's loving every single part of yourself, so that, people can love every single part of you. We're not perfect. We're all fallible. We have our good days, bad days. But this story is beautiful because it's a testament to the energy that you put out. And I could just say, I'm visualizing you, Laura, there just, roaming the streets, like thinking, what's going on? And then this happened,
Well, I did have my, oh, thank you. Well, I mean, I just, sometimes I'm in predicaments, though, and I have to remember to shift my energy and my perception in that moment, right? Because instead of going into survival, having a survival instinct to know how to survive, but not going into the survival fear chakra, but going into, okay, I can manifest something. It's like a clean slate. The universe is saying you have a way to navigate this from your higher mind, from your intuition, or from fear and your survival chakra. Like your friend, right? He was in survival, poverty consciousness. He ended up being an asshole. So that was just, it felt more miraculous than, my energy. I just chose, love, and just felt the connection with the woman. And I had my tarot cards, fortunately, so I could just tell everything was going to be okay. I was giving her readings. And it was just sort of like the survival instincts kind of kicked in. And that's usually what I refer to when I feel like, wow, I'll be lucky if I kind of survive this. And then, so Kevin calls Jimmy Church. They have all this camera footage of me leaving the hotel to go to that restaurant before I went to 7-Eleven. And they're all like, oh my God, where is she? And then my son's like, you shouldn't probably travel again. Look what happens to you. I'm like, look, that is very rare. Like, I've been traveling quite a bit. Like, let's, just be happy that I made it home. And like, they're a little overprotective. But no, this is the energy that you guys hold. And I would love to interview both of you, have you like on my show. I've got tons of questions for you. I want to hear more stories. And I so appreciate it.
Definitely.
It really means a lot to me. I just got viciously attacked this weekend energetically, and it's fine. But I know you guys know how that
on your face.
And and I was so excited to be on this. When we talked yesterday, we were both kind of like, okay, let's wait till Monday. And I'm like, I don't care, how I'm feeling. I know, I told my husband, the minute I see them, the minute we start talking, I'm going to feel so much better. And I do. So
I love that.
Love you, Laura. Like, you've been with Nick. He's been on your show a few times. And then, for me, and I thank Amelia for inviting me on her shows. And every time I would be secretly wanting to put my hand up in the show and saying, I've got a question for Laura, I've got a question for you, because it's that, you just embody and embrace that energy. So that's why, it was just a motivation to get you here. You can, whenever you need to go, you've got to let us know. And I was just wondering if you have time. I wanted to kind of go through Nick's, just a small trailer of his latest movie.
Absolutely, please. Oh, absolutely. And I can share this if I'll share it around, and then let's set up an interview. I've been like you, just really wanting to talk more to you, and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't just had a one-on-one with you. I know we did like one or two. They were really just incredible. I was like, wow. And so I look
to do something together and work on some kind of movie. Oh, that's the downloads I've been getting all day.
Right. I know you guys have so much going on with all that. It's incredible. I watch everything that you guys put out. I might have a few to catch up with that, but I jump on. I'm like, oh my God, I just can't even believe it. It's just, you do it so well. So there's a lot to look forward to. I definitely want to hang with the trailer. And I'm glad to be on this roundtable with you with Amelia. But we can do one-on-ones. I can have both of you on, and any future collaborations when the timing is right. I'd be beyond thrilled. So
cool. Bless you. Well, look, stay with us for this, and then we can have a little chat about it. And
and text it to me so I can share it on my channels too. Anything you want to promote, anytime.
Cool.
Cool.
I'll send it to you. The full movie's out. This is the trailer. This is probably the most fun I've had making a project in a while, because a lot of the epiphanies were coming into my head while I was making it. And it's like anyone who has a mission, usually they'll be tested upon that mission. And I mean, I had a lot of fun making this one. It showed me that no matter what, I'll never get bored of making a movie, because I'm always wanting to be better. So with this one, I've used different techniques to tell the story. And the next volume is where it's going to get a little dark on Elon. But I'm excited. I've made 52 movies. I got plenty happening this month. I'm actually doing 2 a month now. And I hope I can keep that up at least until April.
And you're taking that supplement, so it's like, my God.
Exactly.
You're a genius, both of you. And just real quick, when did you make this? Did you say
this? I released last week on Tuesday. I had a watch party, and for a while, I felt like I was making movies for empty rooms because I didn't really have feedback from anybody. So I was like, "Hey, man, don't be a victim. What's the solution? Okay, let's have watch parties." And so now I'm gonna have these watch parties, and people can come together again.
Need all that info because I want to be on, and I want to like. Okay, cool. So let's
go. Let's go. Here we go.
I think there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs on the medical front, particularly around the synthetic mRNA. You can basically do anything with synthetic RNA, DNA. It's like a computer program. So, I think with effort that's not too crazy, you could probably stop aging or reverse it if you want. You can basically do it. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence.
Musk seems to be thriving. His recent decision to purchase Twitter, claiming a desire to improve the world through a restoration of free speech on the platform, has sparked both admiration from conservatives and animosity from liberals. Could this shakeup be a calculated move? Elon Musk has gained attention on Twitter for his various actions, such as letting the "let that sink in" meme trend, and also winning support from conspiracy theorists for calling out Christine Grady, head of ethics at the NIH and wife of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Some speculate that this fact may explain why Fauci has not faced consequences for his unethical experiments on the public.
I see people in this country, because of the divisiveness in our country, of not getting vaccinated for reasons that have nothing to do with public health, but have to do because of divisiveness and ideological differences. As a physician, it pains me because I don't want to see anybody get infected. I don't want to see anybody hospitalized, and I don't want to see anybody die from COVID. Whether you're a far-right Republican or a far-left Democrat, doesn't make any difference to me.
After acquiring Twitter, Elon Musk engaged in a public feud with Kanye West. Their relationship has been tumultuous, with Musk alternating between banning and unbanning West on social media. The final straw came when West, now presidential candidate, tweeted a picture that some perceived as a swastika merged with the Star of David, equating Nazism with Zionism. However, this symbol actually represents the religion of Ra-ism, which was founded in 1974 and believes that humans were sent to Earth as experiments by advanced alien species known as the Elohim. Ra-ism followers view Elohim as the gods of history and believe the human race is made up of 40 human hybrids, including Prophet, Buddha, and Jesus. It's worth noting that Musk's acquisition of Twitter was made possible with the help of loans from banks, including Morgan Stanley and Bank of America, totaling $12.5 billion. This isn't the first time the entrepreneur has received financial backing in his pursuit of power and success. But before we go there, let's be fair and start with the positives. The restructuring at Twitter under Elon Musk's leadership has been significant, with the firing of over half of the company's 7,500 employees. This has had a particularly large impact on teams focused on product policy, communications, ethical AI, data science, engineering, and trust and safety. Several high-level executives were among those let go, including CEO Parag Agrawal, CFO Ned Siegel, and General Counsel Sean Edgett, Yoel Roth, and Vijaya Gadde, who was known for banning President Donald Trump and many of his supporters after the events of January 6th, were also among those removed. It remains to be seen how these changes will impact the future direction of the company. In his role as CEO of Twitter, Musk has taken it upon himself to decide which users are reinstated and which ones stay banned. While he has lifted the bans on some well-known conservatives like Jordan Peterson and Marjorie Taylor Greene, as well as conservative outlets like Babylon Bee and Gateway Pundit, many everyday conservatives still remain suspended. Musk has cited polls to justify his decisions, claiming that he is following the will of the majority of Twitter users. However, some have criticized his actions as being overly authoritarian, with Musk effectively acting as the sole arbiter of who is allowed to use the platform and who is not. This has led to concerns that Musk is using his power as CEO to unfairly favor certain viewpoints over others, rather than truly upholding the principles of free speech. Elon Musk has claimed that his top priority is addressing child sexual exploitation content on the platform. However, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has criticized Twitter's efforts in this regard, stating that the number of reports received through the cyber tip line has not changed since Musk took over. Despite this, Twitter has reported removing over 1 million accounts in 2021 for violating its child sexual exploitation content rules and detected 86,666 instances of child abuse material on the platform. The NCMEC believes that the number is likely higher. Twitter is currently being sued by 2 child sex abuse victims and their mothers, who allege that the company did not take swift action when alerted to a video of the abuse circulating on the platform. Italian cybersecurity researcher Andrea Stroppa has been enlisted by Twitter to assist with moderating content on the platform. Stroppa's analysis found that 95% of accounts sharing child sexual abuse material on Twitter were created before Elon Musk bought the company. He also discovered that under Musk's leadership, Twitter is now directly suspending accounts that share child sex abuse material, rather than just removing individual tweets as it did in the past. Elon Musk's philanthropic efforts at Twitter seem to be going well, but to truly understand the situation, it's necessary to delve deeper and examine the lineage of Musk and the individuals in his orbit.
Well, it's already out now. Nice.
Whoa. Wow. The depth of research. I mean, I don't know. I mean, 52 films. When was the first year you started putting out films?
It was it was actually the end of March 2020, after I lost my job for being a Trump supporter. In January, I was fired. Actually, no, it was March 10th. I was fired, and then everything COVID happened March 12th. So I basically asked for unemployment, saying they didn't tell me why I was fired. So I'm going to say that it's because of COVID. And then I got unemployment. And with whatever, I think $800 a month, I was able to start making movies and not worry. And then around July, I got kicked out of the house. My family split. My
camera guy? Or no, that was different.
What's that?
You moved out of the place with the camera guy. You got kicked out of where?
Oh, this was ex-wife. My ex-wife kicked me out of the house. So then I went to Florida. Then I came back to Hollywood, and I was all over the place. It was crazy, man. But yeah, it was March 2020 when I first made Swamp, the history of elite child sex trafficking, written by one of the guys who co-created Wikipedia. And I had no idea it was written by him. I just thought, I'm going to make a movie like Fall of the Cabal. I need a script. I go to Twitter and I find threads. And I'm like, that's a great thread. And I asked, can I use your thread? He said, yeah, just don't say who I am. And I was like, well, who are you? And then I found out who he was. And I was like, oh. And then I just shared it everywhere. I shared it on Twitter everywhere. And then it got like 4,000 views. And I was like, cool, I'll make another one. Then I made another one, and that one got like 8,000 views. And I was like, all right, I'll make another one. And then I made Gaga. Then I made Hanks. And then I got a psychic came to me. She told me, she said, you need to write your own movie. And I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, well, the thing that's in my mind right now is those who yell the loudest have the most to hide. And so
I love that one.
right. So I made Pervywood. And
Yep,
then that one got like hundreds of thousands of views. And then I made a part 2, and that one blew up. That got like 600,000 views.
Yeah, the Oprah, that was later.
That was way later, because now there's like 15 Pervywoods.
Right. I think oh my God, maybe I need to catch up with some. I know I've seen most of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was after Pervywood then?
After Pervywood, I did a lot of those for a minute, and then I started getting more political with Obamagate, George Soros, and then after a while, I then met a beautiful screenwriter, Nick Hinton, fantastic guy, and a lot of my spiritual movies are based off of his work, like Divine Feminine, Escaping the Simulation, The Cube, Dark Cube of Saturn, Black Cube of Saturn.
Oh, yeah, oh my God.
And he has just given me a treasure trove of so much material to make films out of, that I'm like, oh no, how do I do this? Okay, I'm going to make a film school, and I'm going to teach people how to make films the way I do, so that then their projects in that film school are his scripts.
You think this is like a Guinness Book of World Records, 52 films in 3 years, less than 3 years, 2 years? We just turned January. I mean, on the level that you do it, the length, the depth of research, the fact that you do the music, and you guys are like this incredible team, and you pull it together like this. I mean, and the music too. It's just like,
and the fact that before it took off, before I got fired, there was like 4 years prior to that I went and saw Tony Robbins and knew what I wanted to manifest. But I thought I would be a Hollywood fictional movie director. So when documentaries came onto the table, I thought it was. I had a psychic tell me, she's like, you're going to be going around the world making documentaries, and you're going back and forth to DC. And I thought she was crazy, but I've gone back and forth to DC because of jail. And now I'm technically making documentaries around the world. So it's just so crazy. You know, like I almost died around that time, just a half a year before all this took off.
The car wreck you told me about?
Yeah. The car wreck.
Like woke up in bed, or you just... You were in a wreck and you woke up in bed, right?
On the couch. Yeah. Just whoop. And then my ex-wife was like, you totaled the car. And I was like, where is it? She's like, it's outside. It's parked pretty nice. And I was like, what? It's parked nice? I remember looking out. I'm like, how the fuck? And then I went down and I moved it to the backyard. And when I turned the wheel, it was like, ugh, like I had to really do it. So I thought divine intervention. Something came and was like, yo, dude, you're not doing your soul's purpose. Let me sprinkle some magic or whatever all over you. And you're going to wake up and realize that you don't have much time to do what you wanted to do as a kid. So step it up.
Wow. Quick question for you both. If you were to make a movie with Nick, Laura, what would be brewing for you? What subject would you tackle? And Nick, then you answer.
Okay. Well, I mean, no expectation. I know you got so much coming through, but I might be doing a TV series on Eisenhower Files. That's part of my mission, and it has to do with all the disinformation, all the blame being put on him for ET government treaties and putting to death Germans. I have, for the last 10 or so years, but as a lifelong mission, gotten to the bottom of some things, been working with the senior advisor to Earth Alliance, and connecting with people that have given the truth and what really took place with the star beings. He connected to star beings and guardians through Val Thor, and was partly connected to making sure there would be a migration of highly advanced souls that would come in by helping the guardians, the Dakota star beings connected actually to the Nakota Lakota Sioux Nation, and how these books were handed to me. I didn't seek them out. And it says stuff like, like one thing is that a future descendant will be gifted to your bloodline or to your family to your family in order to bring about the truth for all who are waiting, along with a huge migration of highly advanced souls, right? That are doing like you guys, right? Like extraordinary work, and that there is a migration. So it's like, okay, there's a book, right? And this book was handed to me. It's never been published. And then things like his relationship with Val Thor, his connection to the Guardians, and how much he was not into the government structure, not into putting a person in a leadership position, expecting them to be able to just sole-handedly do all this stuff, how he empowers advanced souls and star seeds through these channels. Just some very interesting things about how we're like a team. There's no real hierarchy, and how he was, you know, a Mennonite descendant, grew up on a farm and went to West Point, and just some things just to set the record straight, because I get a lot of attack and a lot of BS, and I have for a long time. But that's one thing. What I really love is, you know, what the mother energy coming back into the earth, the galactic history connected to it, the greater soul alchemy, the DNA holding alchemical union, sacred union, and that upgrading our DNA has everything to do with integration of polarity and love. That's why when relationships like you come together, it changes the world, because that's what's been targeted. And the fact that folks like you can override all these things that probably want to keep people like you apart, that you have a certain immunity to it because of how high vibrational and how intelligent and how heart-based and how soul-centered you both are. So it can kind of turn into your love story as an example. So these are kind of the things that are kind of lighting up, and how the greater love story of creation is very much in your kind of story, the kind of work you both do. So I can kind of like empower. I mean, I know it's your films and everybody knows like how genius and brilliant you both are, but that can just be an example of maybe just certain love stories, like maybe how Kevin and I met, how he was, I mean, that's an extraordinary story. So it could be, you know, the power of unions that are stronger than death, stronger than mind control and social engineering. Or we can also do a little bit, which wouldn't take long, of just setting the record straight about Eisenhower. Where did I get my info? And there was a time that I did think maybe he did sign the treaties, and I was just trying to navigate and understand why he would do that. And so a lot of breakthroughs with all that. So what are your thoughts, Nick?
Wow, I love it. You mentioned Valiant Thor, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to Rob Potter's conference later this year up north in Shasta again?
I went to the last one, and that's when I had a weird thing happen with my friend, and that's when I ended up in the San Mateo jail. And I think he probably feels that, even though I've done so much with him, interviews and plenty of events in Shasta, we're actually going to go to Glastonbury in a conference. And I think he probably doesn't feel like I really want to go. And I ended up kind of in the hole financially. It's not his fault. He does a great job. It's just, I've done enough there. And I think that's why I didn't get invited back. Or maybe they're like, you know, like, what was that all about? You know, because I texted, I'm like, yeah, it was really fun until I got thrown in jail and pretty much tortured all day. And I think they were just like, what? But no, Rob is great. And I heard about that conference. Usually I would probably go, but yeah, I think I might do other. I'm doing Conscious Life Expo, New Living Expo, and there's a potential cruise. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to cancel or not. I need more people coming. So if you guys would be able to come, Alpa and Nick,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's like Jason Shirka, Jimmy Church, like a lot of really, really good speakers. It's 5 days in April. I can tell you more about it. But anybody who's hearing that, just check it out on my website. All the things coming up are there.
Cool.
But yeah, you know, being on the, I'm much more of a sailor, cruise ships. Yeah. But when you have a bunch of friends, and
it can be a lot of fun. I like the love idea of making a film with you, and also exploring your history, your past, and how you're coming along the journey of your truth. Yeah, divine unions. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's because it's less about me and my. I mean, we can touch upon that, but my greatest passion, I mean, that is just helping to protect us from artificial timelines. Because if we're dealing with false history, how can we heal as a humanity? Because we're reflecting on lies, not truth. Just like in our own life, if we had false memories of our childhood, how can we heal trauma or anything from our past, right? So as a humanity, we need to not be dealing with rewritten history and lies, because that's an artificial timeline. So that's the main goal of that kind of work. But yeah, divine union with you guys having this bond, with me having a miracle story with my partner. And I know the word miracle isn't maybe the right word, but because it's based in just the frequency of soul connection that, you know, like I have an I Ching tattoo on my ankle all about how the power of love is stronger than steel, stronger than all this stuff. And that, nice, right? So I have a 13th hexagram, 9 in the 5th place. And I can, I'll take a picture and send it to you. You probably know it. And I got it a long time ago, but it kept me going because love has been everything. You know, like you said, where's my dream job? Where's my dream? You know, where I've also just been calling out that a lot of people we're born with it, right? But how has that been compromised? How has that been targeted? How has what we see through the media and distortions of relationship and now gender confusion getting in the way of this? And it doesn't matter about same-sex relationships or if it's men or women. It has to do with real authentic love, and it goes beyond it needing to be male female. But how can we break the social engineering of this gender confusion and embrace same-sex relationships, marriage, and also the sacred union between two people? It's just as much sacred union if you have the same, you know, gender. There's something else that you're balancing out. As long as you can integrate polarity together and be sovereign together, then you are playing an incredible role for humanity. And that's what the world needs to heal. So I just love your story. And I think doing a show on that would be really cool.
Right. Yeah. Let's get started tomorrow. Nick.
Oh, God, I know you guys are busy. I'm just so thrilled that like you would even want to, like, it's all in your timing. You guys let me know. No rush or expectations, but I'll be there. Believe me.
Cool. Okay.
So I know you have
yeah, I know you guys have to do something next. Yes. All right, guys.
On a parting note for our guests, it's been absolutely wonderful to have you, and I've just enjoyed listening to you from your heart because that's where I felt it. And I just want to say something that I absolutely agree with, this power of love, because that's what's taken Nick and I, and through our friendships, through all relationships, to sort of cultivate that energy of love. And it's such a powerful force, and it can come in waves. We have to sort of figure out ourselves and all of that authenticity, and kind of going off track here, but I agree with you.
Or it's codependent or vampiric, right? You have to really be
I'm like, shush, I'm trying to make a point here. Like,
you did.
But no, just sort of wrapping up, like, our audience have loved you. I've had the best audience and in a while. Not saying that all my other audience, sorry, I don't mean in a bad way. But
I didn't cut you off when you were getting that download. No.
We fired up lots of people. So I want to thank everyone here. But the power of love is just a magnitude for miracles. And just on a parting note to our guests, because they've given you so much love today as well, Laura. Before you leave us, Nick and I are just going to spend a few minutes after Laura goes. But as our special guest, what would you like to leave our guests with tonight?
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate just being able to share things that I normally wouldn't share. And I just feel so comfortable with both of you. I mean, the power of your heart, love, intelligence, divinity is just so deeply appreciated, and by so many. I look forward to doing more with you. I hope I didn't cut you off though, because you're absolutely I was just like, yes, because the sovereignty, if we don't know ourselves, it's very easy to be in a dysfunctional relationship. But if two people are willing to help each other be the fullness of all that we are and hold hands as sovereign beings, that union is like nothing else. And so you're a living example of that. And a lot of you out there are on that journey. That's the deeper soul journey, to find that in your life. But as long as it's not there, don't stress about being single or where is that person. Trust the greater forces, because this is encoded in our DNA and universal forces, cosmic and natural law, that will happen. Until then, just really enjoy getting to know yourself, following your path, following your mission, trusting the synchronicities that'll bring you together, like they did these two, me and my partner, and so many that have these kind of stories. And don't trust, some people are like, where is that person? And they don't like being single. I really didn't like being single myself. I'm not a very good single person, but one has to remind themselves. And this is a lot to look forward to, because it's encoded in all of us to have this kind of destiny if we stay soul-centered and in our truth. And standing for something beyond what the matrix is throwing us, because we are divine beings that have a lot more potential than we could realize.
Heck yes.
Amazing.
Heck
We've
yes.
got Laura's YouTube channel. Thank you, Ronnie, for sharing that. Please, if you're new to Laura, which I doubt everyone knows who the beautiful soul is, but thank you, Ronnie, for putting her link there. And Nick, you're staying on, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone, if you want to stay on, Nick and I.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be You're amazing.
You're amazing.
And yeah, I'll give you ARII sent out and the other stuff that I said. Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, and links and trailers I can share. And okay, we'll be in touch, guys. Thank you. Bye.
See you later. Bye. She's awesome.
She
I have an
really is.
idea of what kind of film to make now with her.
Go on.
I think it'd be great to show people the what's up with tarot cards, the basics, and like almost like what I used to do for anybody I'd meet, and show them how to do it themselves. Like, do your Vedic astrology chart, do your numerology, possibly go into human design. It's a little too complex. I don't know how much she knows about that, but kind of like an introduction into the tools you can use to navigate through the spiritual weather.
Yeah, I think
about that, huh?
Yeah, we said this at the beginning, Nick. Like, it's this intuitive compass which has led me to kind of gauge certain energies without really fully getting the kind of the crux of what that subject would involve. So, for example, numerology, numbers started following me. So then it made me inquire, and it gained that curiosity. And it started in 2016 with the number 1111. And as you know, I'm born at that time. So it was like crazy. It was like, what are these numbers trying to tell me? And the universe is always communicating with you in so many ways. So it was actually the first time back in 2011, I think, or 2010, where I had my kind of very subtle awakening. And then 2016, all these numbers were following me. And that made me kind of inquire, read up about these subjects, but just kind of flitting through. So then there would be downloads that I would get without fully comprehending the magnitude of what these numbers are sort of telling me. Then you start reading a little bit more. My good friend Charlie Wolf, who's written a book about the 1111 code, meaning the light code. There is so much gnosis in there. They're both scientific and spiritual kind of aspects of numerology. So a lot of people say you can go out there and you can read so many things, then you can be a bit fuzzy in the brain and you can not belong anywhere. What I say is this, all this wisdom that we can impart, but is staying true to yourself, staying in like faith to God and congruent to God, and knowing and seeing these synchronicities are trying to tell you something, if you're that way inclined. But sometimes people, I remember just before, 2 days before, we went into the whole 2020 thing, and I remember it was the 16th of March. And I was with that friend who I told you that my mother passed, unfortunately. We both were at a pottery studio. And I made this, if you look here.
1111.
And I just sort of like the whole Shiva Shakti story for me is very kind of, profound in my life. And this just came naturally to me just to draw this and paint this. And this is the whole 1111 thing. Because she's like, oh my God, like stop with this whole 1111 thing. You're just getting on my nerves. But in our journey, as you know, and one day we may share it, is that it's held a lot of significance. So yes, these are great tools in answer to your question. A lot of people will be of another perspective, which is fine as well. Everyone's entitled to their perspective. Everyone will meet you as where they are in their own journey. And we're here, all, as I simply say, is to find out who we are, shine our light, and my favorite word, to self-actualize and liberate our soul.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. That is your favorite word. Yeah, that's why we're here. And it's a hard journey. A lot of people wish they were elsewhere and they're not. And that's good, because if you really feel you belong elsewhere, then you got to work toward it. There's a lot of times in my life where I knew I wanted something bigger for my life in the sense that I was helping people, but it just takes action. No matter if that action doesn't seem like it's going to get you to the big kahuna, at least it's going to get you to the next step. And you got to take those steps. Whatever action it is, you're going to find out sooner or later if it's the right step or the wrong step. And normally any step gets you in the right direction. So there's no right or wrong step. And right now, like in my perspective, is too much conspiracy has tainted the mind of a lot of people as a collective. You talk to someone one-on-one, you're going to vibe with them pretty hard on a lot of things, conspiracy minded. But when you get people together and they start to form groups, then it becomes allowable to hold on to an idea that is absurd or that is perverted, that has been too introverted inside and out. It just doesn't have anything to hold on to anymore. And so what I mean by that is kind of like there's a group of people out there who call anybody who's a man a woman. They're so excited to say that's a woman. And no, take a step back. Just breathe a little bit. Like,
because I apparently have a wide neck. Big
Yes,
hand.
they called you a man, they called me a woman. I mean, that's crazy. And so, like, how do you want to represent your ability to reason to the world? Do you just want to call anyone a freaking woman because they got or no Adam's apple, or it's just, yeah. And so right now I'm kind of at this point where it's like we have to teach people more spiritual tools, and the tools that have helped me is being in the present moment. And I used to do that religiously, and that's a bad word to use for this because religion holds a mental activity. This is not necessarily a mental activity, but more so of an observance of mental activity. And that brings people to calm and peace, because right now people need calm and peace because the world looks like it's going to freaking fail, and no one wants to fail in this world.
No.
So it's hard.
And this journey does bring people together, this connections that we've had, you and I, but there's a greater purpose. It's not this kind of airy fairy love story. It's like, yeah, let's just run into the sunset. You know, unions, be it whatever kind of unions, with friends, with family, with lovers, they also have purposes and for a greater good, and they will come to teach you, to help you grow in the spiritual evolution of your journey. And if we can have those to realize that actually in those lenses, to see that what is this experience teaching me, when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, it can really make you go one or two ways. It can make you go further down, or it can actually make you neutralize the charge of what that experience had. Say, right, this is a part of my growth game. This is going to really teach me so much. You went through a lot. You and I have gone through so much in these last 9 months acutely. But when we kind of rationalize, look at it from that spiritual lens and see what this is teaching us, it's so powerful and like profound and beautiful. So let's go, which is what took us to that journey of ARII, which is my favorite part of this journey. And of course you, but like, you know, but just this, how these unions come together for the greater good. And that's what we need to remind ourselves, is that what we're doing this for, why we're doing this. And, you know, it was just, again, a case of synchronicities. Nick knew this couple. He'd made a video for them, and you know, he sort of heard me talking about autism a lot, and we were just talking, and in conversation, it came up as, oh, maybe we should contact these people. And then the rest is history. And we are with some amazing reviews. Truly, if you're in the chat still, she did say she had to go, but yes, she is. Truly, I want to thank you personally. There she is. She made some amazing comments about ARII, and I'd love to invite you on the show at some point. Message me, alpa@aribrand.com. If anyone is buying this, if anyone is buying this just for people that are, they want to help because they're autistic, that's not the only thing this helps with. We've got the detox, which is part 1, which everybody can use. And funnily enough, I implore everybody to go and watch the video with the lady called Janice on one of my lives with Donald and Barbara, because she actually bought it for her 6-year-old daughter. And we're revamping the website, and all the testimonials are going to be there. And if you are having a great journey with ARII, then please do send us your reviews. And Nick and I, you know, really just feel from the bottom of our heart grateful for this. But
I gotta say it. Oh no, keep going. Finish your sentence.
Just to finish this point, she just said that she initially bought it for her daughter. Then, unfortunately, her father had the you-know-what, and this has been helping tremendously dissipate his aches and pains.
Wow. Now,
what I say to you is that I also had a bit of a strange review the other day, because the dad, I think, overdid it. And this is a testament, if you know what Alzheimer's reactions are, that if you're very toxic and your body is trying to shed these toxins, and if you're doing it at a very forceful and rapid speed, although it's a topical and an oil that is applied to the sole of the foot and the navel, right? This is a quite powerful entry point for it to be absorbed and go straight to the brain. So he had a bit of a Alzheimer's reaction, felt sick. So what I'm saying is, if you're dealing with children and you want to detox them, go at a pace that, you know, it's just the 2 drops on the feet. And then I'll let Nick say a few words, and then I want to share a beautiful testimonial of a lovely lady, which I haven't shared on any of my platforms.
Oh, yeah.
But she's amazing. But truly, thank you. She's been giving me feedback, and would like to invite you, truly, just a brief chat with you.
Here's the thing. If you're taking hot showers, you're going to be breathing in heavy metals, guaranteed. That's one thing. If you're driving on the freeway, you're going to be breathing them in. If you just look up at the clouds, you're going to be seeing what they're spraying is not anything that's specific to your health in a positive way. So it doesn't matter if you have autism or not. You can benefit from taking the detox because it will extract heavy metals outside of your system, outside of, I believe it's your lymph nodes, that your lymph nodes hold them in its process of filtering, but you got to get them out. So when you take it, you'll notice if you take too much, you'll feel like shit, because that's what detoxing is. It's getting rid of all that shit. And so, like, for example, I've been doing sauna, infrared sauna. It doesn't feel good. It feels like shit because it's detoxifying. But when you get out, it feels fucking amazing. So, like, I don't ever think I'll ever stop taking ARII autism because of how I've seen my mind change, my willpower change, and my brain just feels like it's back to normal. Like, it's a very strange thing to realize, wait a second, how long was I not normal for? Like, and then you think back and you go, oh my God, that outburst, that happened. Oh shit, I need to say sorry to some people. And that's what's been happening to me. Like, I've had this mirror that was in front of me that was so blurry, and now all of a sudden it's like, it's like that one song. Yeah. And so, like, now I see through the glass, and I'm stoked because now, like, I can go to the failed relationships I've had and say, hey, I'm learning some things about myself. I'm really sorry. Having this awareness and this medicine helps to it helps the awareness. It helps me, which is fucking cool because I was in a dark place for a while.
Yeah, and it's a raw and authentic place to be in, Nick, where you can wear your heart on your sleeves. And actually, people who watch your movies, you have a lot of amazing things that you share on Good Lion, and they're dark subjects that you have to tackle. And it's surely the energies of it can really be emotionally taxing. So that can kind of get you kind of feeling depleted, your energies lost in this movement, and then what's going on in the collective. All of us at some point have felt that we're losing our minds in this, correct? And me too. Okay. But then again, what Laura said is the power of love and God. That for me, that's everything. You know, the trust in God. And you know that, Nick, that's what seen me through the darkest moments of my life. And it's like I didn't know. It's just that connection that I say, right, you handle this and I got this. And I just want to acknowledge Abby. If you want to give this to people that you know, send me a message and we can make some kind of like special code. You could become an affiliate. And if people do, I know I have said this about ambassadors, and 2 people have contacted me. It's just that we're trying to kind of get our system aligned so that we can have people spreading the word about ARII. And of course, as we grow, we'll be able to buy the ingredients at lower prices. As you know, these ingredients are very, very expensive. So, and sourced from all over the world. So the blue algae alone is just one of the most expensive ingredients.
It really is. Can we do CMOS with them? You think they're down to do a CMOS product?
Well, there's so many things that we're speaking about at the moment. Donald and I are actually working on, and I just going to kind of keep this until we launch it. But we've had phenomenal responses for the diabetic community as well, which we call pancreas support. I've had a lady that's, was open to Donald's advice, and then Donald and I have been speaking. So we're going to compress it into an oil. So ARII Brand Topicals is going to be introducing a lot of different oils, not just for the detox and the autism support. They're going to be quite individual and specific, and not as expensive because of what we've got within the detox and the autism range. So there's like neem oil. I'm going to try and find the best quality of neem oil. I've got some people in India and Sri Lanka, and you put that through the navel. Anyone has acne, it's an amazing, like, it's just great for acne and pimples. And actually, I got told this when I was 11 years old. So these are things that we've got in the pipeline. But I do think it's important we watch that review, because it's interesting what this lady says about using it not just for her autistic daughters. So
and then after
I just want to start.
Afterward, I want to follow up with Tone Deaf and ask him what he means about me being crucified. We can do that.
Okay, we'll do that.
I just want to start out by saying how grateful I am for finding the autism support and detox for myself and for my 8-year-old daughter who has autism. My daughter is a beautiful 8-year-old girl. She has limited speech, limited eye contact. And so I was just looking for something that felt safe and natural to see if it would help. And reading and seeing the reviews on this, I felt confident to give it a try. And I can't believe how much came out of this. I was expecting, or hoping, I should say, that she would have more, words, more eye contact, which she does. It's amazing. It's like a light has come on for her. She is using her words more often. She's making a lot of eye contact. She's engaging more. She tends to want to play by herself, and now she enjoys a little back and forth with myself and with her therapist. But the crazy thing is we found another thing that it did, which was to heal her chronic stomach virus. A year ago, my family was struck with COVID. Myself, my husband, and my daughter all contacted COVID, and it was bad. I didn't even think it was COVID. It was so bad. It felt like something nothing like a flu. So my daughter and I actually came through it okay, but my husband passed away after 6 to 8 weeks of fighting it. So not only were we weak, but we were devastated. And my daughter started getting this stomach virus, I'd say every 6 weeks, where she would vomit and not be able to eat, and just was miserable for about 3 days. And then 6 weeks later, it started again. Well, then it became more frequent. It was once a month, then every 10 days, then every 6 days. So when I went to start this detox, I was hoping maybe the detox would help with this issue too, but it wasn't my main goal, and it wasn't something I thought would cure it. But I will have to say, the moment we started it, I believe it was the second day I was putting this on her feet, the detox. It's like she started to feel a little nauseous, and then it went away. And I'm glad to say 3 months later, she hasn't been sick once. She has not had the flu one time, which is such a blessing. I'm so grateful. And it's one of those things that she doesn't mind doing as part of her routine. When we go to bed, I just say, it's time to rub your feet. And she gives them to me, and I put them on her feet, and it's been a wonderful part of our life. And it's something that we will continue to do. I will do it with her. When we did start the detox, I said I would do it with her because she can't tell me how she's feeling. So I thought I would do it with her so I can experience some of what she's experienced. And I'll tell you, I don't have the headaches that I used to get since having COVID, and feel a little lighter. It's just been a blessing. So every 4 months we will do it together, and we will daily use the autism support on her feet. I'm very grateful to Donald and his wife for creating such an amazing product, and grateful for the support that they give. I'm able to contact them and ask questions. And I've been given a lot of great insights by speaking to him, and I'm just grateful. Thank you so much. I've already told my friends and family about it, and a few of them are starting the program now. So thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's one of my favorite reviews, and a big shout out to Donald and Barbara. They really helped us to assist this lady. So, you know, she's got quite a tragic story, but just before I forget, the New Year's promotion is still on. I decided to extend it till the end of the month because not the first few days of the new year. Nick and I really want this to reach as many people as possible so that we can expand and have more people happier like this and making a real difference. I'm here. If you have any questions or anything. So yeah, that code is still there. It's New Year 30. And of course, I implore everyone to go onto Good Lion. Nick, do you just want to tell them? So it's the code Alpa. Everything's at the bottom on the banner. And if you go on Good Lion, there's promo with my code Alpa20. Nick, actually tell them a little bit about the website and, you know, how many things they can watch for free.
Cool. Before that, though, I wanted to say, did you tell them your email address in case they need to reach out to you?
Alpa@aribrand.com.
Cool. All right. Good Lion TV is always going through changes. Right now, we hear the most of the complaints is they want it on Roku. Roku has a web browser, so you can actually access Good Lion TV from it. But of course, it's not as easy as checking out Burrow, which has almost everything Red Pill Cinema has, but maybe half the amount. If you go to goodlion.tv, you'll see the organization is developing. So we're going to have a list of genres that you can then go into and explore different free films that are in relationship to that specific genre, whether it's 9/11, big pharma, big government, Bigfoot. So, and then you'll see that when you want to become a paying member, what you'll be getting is about 18 original pieces of content a month. And so 16 is from my partner, Alessandro, who is a fantastic researcher who edits his shorts and educationals. We do about 4 a week together, and then I'll make about a film every 2 weeks. So that's what you get when you join. And I like to let people know this just started like really when I got out of jail. It was October 15th, 2020, when YouTube deleted me and all the big dudes. Edge Wonder. I forgot a lot of the others. It's been a while, but that's when I created goodlion.tv. It was just a few days prior that I was playing around with the website, and then all of a sudden had to go live. And it's evolved since then. And now there's a lot of free material that you can watch. Just sign up. And then, yeah, it's been just me and a few other people the entire time. And really just me. And now I'm really loving having a team. Shout out to Richard for being a fucking amazing worker. He's helped me in so many ways. I don't even think he realizes it. Shout out to Alessandro for just also helping out with customer support. It's been very difficult to have to do that all myself for this whole entire time and to have to make movies. So and you, Alpa, guiding me and showing me the way. You're 10 years older than me, and you've had more experience in places that I needed. So I'm grateful for you as well, because it's given all this creative fire a direction so that it doesn't burn itself down. So thank you. And what's the code for the Good Lion? Alpa20? Is that what it is?
Alpa20.
Alpa20. There it is. Good Lion TV. It's been... Oh, Tony followed me from the start. Man, there's some people who followed me from the start, and I wish I could see this whole thing from your perspective, because it must be kind of interesting. Like, people who followed me, and then they're like, this guy's smoking weed at the Capitol now? What the fuck? And it's probably going to get to a point where we're a legit series of January 6th might come out on a distribution network. Like, we're in the works with it right now, but I just am so excited. I'm so excited that I projected where I wanted to go, and I went through so much rings of fire to get there. And now I just got to keep on going. And I get to go with you, which is even better.
Missed out Monica. She was instrumental, I think.
Monica was huge. Yes.
She was
Monica was
great.
big.
Monica was brilliant in really kind of getting the whole voices out for social media. She was great. She was with you till August last year. So it's just people that have come on our journey. We always thank them. And yeah,
sorry, I just get, I mean, I'm just like, there's a lady in the chat who I used to know before any of this happened. Lucinda, I remember going to Lucinda's studio and playing some music, an album I had just made, and I got to listen to it on the big speakers when we were doing ecstatic dancing. She probably tripping out too, but it's cool. Yeah. Shout out to Monica. Shout out to Alpa. There's a few that who came and went, but we just got to keep going. I think that's the only thing. ARII is fantastic. Yeah.
I want to thank everyone that's been in the chat room. We've pretty much had everyone stay on throughout. And of course, I understand not ARII and it's not for everyone. But if you do have a loved one that you think that could benefit, just this promo is going to be till the end of the month. Like I said, take advantage of that. So it's the biggest discount that we've given, literally, just because I want more people to try it, and the reviews speak for themselves. Yeah, Nick, I've really enjoyed this with Laura. Thank her so much. There's great things that you're doing, and keep going. There's amazing things happening. I know that we go through our own curveballs. Life throws curveballs at us, and it's how we navigate ourselves through these kind of energies, these shores, as I say. And I know they're not easy. I was met with some shocking news, although it didn't shock me. A friend of mine in particular who we disconnected because we were in this, she wasn't really approving of my views on the world, shall we say. We've all had that story. And unfortunately, we disconnected. And I just, she was very indoctrinated with the mainstream narrative, especially when it concerned and unfortunately, I got shocking news just 2 days ago that her mother had passed, who I was very close to. And while we have mentally prepared ourselves for these times, it's never easy. Now, we know what this is doing to people, both mentally, emotionally, and it's kind of like making people who have taken it, we can see a real difference. Well, I can for sure. And what do we do? I mean, it's so emotionally hard to hear these things. And one of the things is that, unfortunately, I was met with some sad news that my father's, first time I'm saying it, my father got diagnosed with stage 3 cancer in October. So when I say that, this journey is not easy for anyone, and he didn't take it. But guess what? He was taking the flu thing every year. So that would have exacerbated that. Suffice to say, he's using ARII, and I've put him on some specific Ayurvedic herbs. And what we're in January now, the condition is reversed and the cancer hasn't spread. Now, this is the same similar time that this friend of mine who I heard, and I would know that you see, it's very complicated to say on live, but I'm sure you all know what I'm trying to say, that I know that this stuff is not good. It's not just causing the cardiac arrest. It's doing a lot more. I mean, we need to just look at the ingredients. And a friend of mine who I went out with for dinner just recently, she literally snuck her way into a center where they do administer this, and she pulled out the insert from the AZ one.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, I was there, and she just goes, "This is it. This is what I keep in my wallet." Now, what I say is this argument about who has, who hasn't, it's creating further division and animosity. We have to accept that people will be on a certain page now once they've taken it, and that cognitive dissonance is going to remain thick. Yeah. And there are going to be people who are going to be humble and say, "Man, I wish I didn't take this." And we're going to, we've been through these wars about that subject. What I say to everyone is soften yourselves. Can't do anything anymore, especially after hearing what I did, someone so close to home. I mean, I know so many people, but this one literally broke my heart. And we have to toughen up because people have made choices themselves for this. And it's difficult, but chin up, people, and do your bit. Try and educate people what they can do to reverse, like I did with my father. And, you know, he's just today went and got some more of the specific herbs for him because I was guided by a pharmacist, actually, who reversed his stage 4 lung cancer. So this is this is a very aggressive form of cancer. So, you know, whatever helps you. Nick and I are doing our bit with ARII. We're both on ASEA, and I'm going to be taking that.
Ooh, I forgot to talk about that.
No, I know. I just want to touch on that.
Just say something real quick, you know, because I gotta, you know, people are like, you guys are both glowing and such, and there's a lot that we've been doing. One of them is ASEA. ASEA is like taking MMS. I bet you can't even say that on here, but because Trump, when he was talking about bleach, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about this miracle mineral solution. And ASEA has made it more digestible, more delicious, I guess you can say. It's not as...
Yeah, well, it helps every other supplement that you're taking. So for me, my go-to now, which is really taking me out of this kind of lethargic, fatigue, brain fog. And if I don't take it, if I go off the rails a little bit, you know, I'm healing every single day. I'm not saying that, oh, woo, I've just taken a bit of this and that's that. I have my journey with this, but I kid you not, and I shout out to Catherine Edwards. I'm not promoting anything on me. I love Roots. I've had so many people approach me for affiliates. That wasn't it. Roots, I was the last person to introduce it on my shows, but I took it for 4 months before I even talked about it on my shows. Everyone just kind of like, Roots is everywhere, but guess what? Roots is an amazing product, and it's just been great for energy, for focus. Now take ASEA with that, and ARII, oh my God, like I've just been unstoppable today. Like I've had so much work to do, but ran out of my Roots as well. So the three combined are amazing.
Crazy. That's what I've been doing. I've been sleeping better. I've been doing cold showers, extending the time, cold plunges, sauna, infrared sauna, eating only meat. I don't recommend it for everybody, but and that has just given me willpower to continue with ARII and all these things together. It's almost like I got my old self back, and now I'm really happy because I can not stress about the future. And that's basically like, we don't want stress. No one wants stress.
Yeah, someone said that. Sorry, Nick. Roots is a bit pricey. Look, we all have to pay for it, and it is. But sometimes I kind of weigh the costs for my supplements over and above like stupid things that I would buy, which were unnecessary. I get that, but like, you know, if anything you get is the zero in. If you can't get all of it, for me, the favorite is zero in. I would never take that out of my supplement.
Mine's ASEA. Mine's ASEA, and I'm taking the MMS manually now because I ran out of ASEA. And you know, it's the same thing, but it's just not the same in the sense that ASEA has made it to where the ratio of both is at a point where you can take a shot of it, and it's not gonna make you feel as messed up in the gut as if you were doing the mixture yourself. And check it out. The reason behind MMS is that you know, our water needs filtering that you drink. You drink, and then you make blood. Your blood does so much in your body that your blood needs filtering. You've got organs to do that, but you can lighten the load on your organs by filtering your blood with this liquid. It goes into your blood, and it literally kills the bad, leaves the good. How amazing do you think you would feel if you got brand new blood? That's like in the movie I made, Pervy with Elon. I talk about Peter Thiel, who co-owned PayPal with Elon. This dude's obsessed with living forever. So you know what he's up to. He's doing these blood transfusions with a company, Ambrosia. They take young kids, 18-year-olds, and they exchange, not exchange, but you get blood from the youngin'. and you can go and do this once a month for $40,000. And that's going to make you feel fantastic because look they've done it on rats. You literally reverse your age when you start to clean your blood. And that's what we're seeing with reviews from ASIA is people who are literally looking way younger, which is crazy.
So about ASIA, I have, in fact, the show was going to premiere this weekend. So I've been taking it for almost 3 months now. And there is actually a process. It's very different from like buying something like Roots. So I will have the video. It will be shown on Good Lion as well. I'll put it up on my show in the next few days. It's just that I want to make the process for everyone because it's not just straightforward buying the bottle. You'll have a call for support. So you call them, you tell them what your condition is or whatever it is that you're wanting to take this product for. I mean, you can take it for fertility, for autism as well. It exacerbates all the benefits from all the other supplements that you're taking as well. So I've just knocked it up a notch, and I take it 4 times a day. So I take two big cups in the morning and 2 in the evening, and then I take my Roots and what have you, and my shakes and whatever I do. So I'm noticing that everything is just being heightened and increased. Now, if I haven't taken the other stuff and I'm just taking ASIA, it's great. But again, for me, heard all this hype, and I heard about it about 2 years ago. Didn't really, went in one ear out the other. Catherine had to sit down and explain it to me. And I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be promoting something. I'm doing my ARII, blah, blah, blah. And I need to try it. So it was in August that she sent it to me. And I didn't take it properly initially for the first few weeks. I was traveling back and forth. But it's been acutely in the last 2.5 months that I started to really notice different. And the best thing is my mum, you can't make her take anything. She hates like tablets or anything. And she found this. I told her, Mum, it's going to knock 20 years off your age and your looks. I'm telling you, she's drinking a bottle almost a day.
Oh my gosh.
She's loving it. And she's like going, I'm drinking. And she's waking up feeling amazing. Jay and April, Jay was telling me his mum, like it's really helped her with her Alzheimer's. So, but the thing is, the process is a little bit different. So just watch the space, wait a couple of days, keep an eye out. It will be on Good Lion, this video that I've done with Dr. Silverman and Danielle. Danielle's got a fascinating story. She was a biologist, and she had a car accident and 8 years of using ASIA. I mean, just these amazing stories. And Dr. David Silverman, hilarious. He says he's ADHD. It was real fun speaking to him. And there was just so much scientific backup to everything that they're saying. That's not really my strength. I'm more of the fluff and the spiritual side, the fluff, the spiritual, and the prayers that go into ARII. And I know that works. And then they can do all the other stuff and explain how these plants work. But on a serious note, it's cellular redoxing, like a saline solution almost. It's not as strong as the MMS, but it is phenomenal. And I thank Catherine for buying it for me first.
Me too. Thank you, Catherine, because you left it here and I wasn't really down. I was like, I'll just take MMS the way it is. And every night I took it, I just knew the next day I could attribute the good feelings, the clarity to it. And also, like, if I smoked too much weed or whatever, if I took ASIA, you would feel the anxiety go away. And that's a thing. People with any kind of anxiety disorders or even Parkinson's, when you start looking into how MMS has helped, when they have the onset of something that's about to disturb them for X amount of time, they immediately take MMS, and what they'll find is that it subsides. So
I just couldn't stomach MMS, and you bought it for me. I never gave that a good. I mean, I know 3 different people actually had told me about that to help me to combat the Lyme's, fibromyalgia, or whatever label that I've been told that I have or had. I remember you were, when it was you, the third person, I thought, right, let me try this. I would heave. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I remember you put 20 drops in my first one, and I literally went in and vomited.
I did? No
20
way.
drops on the first one. Well, we started off slow with few, and then it went straight, and I was like, put me off the line. So I couldn't continue with the other. This is just, honestly, if it's having, if not the same effect and more, it's patented technology. I know everyone likens it to MMS, but this video that I do with Dr. David Silverman, he sheds light on the background to what it does, and how it helps on like so many different multiple levels. So I'm excited to show that, and I'm glad I didn't show it this weekend, because I've just streamlining the process so how people can order it, because it's not just putting in a link. We want to speak to you and support you through the journey. So I'm setting up my team and helping so that there's someone at the end of the phone just to make sure that you're getting the right amount and what have you. So just watch this space. It will be out this week. So Nick, we've had an amazing show. I think our guests have stayed pretty much throughout. Look at my number. We just hit 155. I've really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this. Thank you everyone for listening up until now. Those who are supporting Nick for Goodline and myself and ARII. Really appreciate that. Hit me up if you've got if you want to become an affiliate. The more people that we can help, the more people will start feeling like parents, feeling lessening the load. Imagine like this, if you study this autism, which I was infatuated with for 12 years, just on a parting note, which is why I recognize it in so many people. The overwhelm, the mental stimulus, the kind of meltdowns. And if it's handled at a young age, then, you know, we are tackling these behavioral issues then that to prevent them from turning into mental trauma further down the line. So it's kind of nipping it in the bud. So a 4-year-old who's getting detoxed, like, it's easier because they haven't been exposed to as many heavy metal toxins. So children will find it easier to detox and repair a lot quicker. So please do recommend this to anyone that you can. It would help. And
recommend it. It's the best way to fight. Right now, there's 2 ways to fight. You can be loud and piss people off, or you can be silent and heal people. I think being silent, a mixture of the two is probably going to be the best way to do it, because trying to convince people what is true oftentimes will keep your wheels spinning and you won't even get anywhere. Some people aren't going to be open to anything different. That's just how it is. But if you do it for yourself and other people see how it has helped you, then they'll pay more of attention, because energy doesn't lie. People are going to feel that energy. And that's what I just wish for the whole world, is that there's a lot of people right now screaming at the top of their lungs that that's fake, this is real, this is white hat, that's black hat. But if we focus that energy on ourselves as individuals, we'd have a real great awakening in ourselves, and not this whole group think of, is Trump real or not? Or is he going to help us? Or is Nasara Jasara going to happen? Maybe. But just if you focused that much energy on yourself, then none of that shit would matter. You know, it wouldn't. You would be a happy person. And I feel like a lot of people have lost their happy in this crazy awakening of all this information. Information is addicting. The mind is addicted to thoughts. All minds. No one even cares to realize the biggest addiction is to mind chatter, and because no one was taught that we could actually take a break from it. And that is what I want to help people realize. Is that's where I want to go in the next few years with movies. I still want to make people laugh. I still want to take people down rabbit holes, but I want to show people, how are you going to come to peace with knowing everything that I've just shown you? You know, you got to have tools to handle all that stress. So we're both doing it in our own way. You know, you're fighting the good fight by providing the herbs and the medicine, and I'm providing the information that can then go into that person nice and easy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, Nick, well said. Well said, because this information can be too much. The information wars that are going on, my truth, your truth, don't trust this is that, same faith, don't do this, that's not there, this is blah, blah. And I switch off, because the truth is that we've all become vacuumed in this movement by going down the rabbit hole, and it's how it's affected us individually. Think about the other side, where they're very kind of nonchalant. They don't know what's going on, and ignorance isn't bliss though. And that's not me saying that we have to stand up in the face of adversity and fight this fight, because this is the great global awakening. What just want to further what Nick's saying is just how to take better self-care during all of these things that have come out in these 3 years. Try to kind of look at it as the observer and doing your bit by not participating in the system as much as you can, not giving up at the same time, and building great communities of connection, love, and just praying for connections that have been cut off or what have you. And if that connection is meant to be in your life, it will, but then certain connections will exit because of the toxicity, and it's meant to. Now, these reconnections that we're having during these retrogrades, you have the choice and the power to decide what you allow. Anyway, enough of the Alpa and Nick rants. I think you've heard enough of us for today. It's been epic. Nick's quite cool with doing like 3 to 4 hours. I'm like, I get exhausted after one.
Speaking of which, Fridays, come hang out with me for a few hours. It's on YouTube, it's on Rumble, and it's normally 3 hours. Yeah, and last week we couldn't do it because Alpa found out about the death in her family, and I decided just to spend time with her. But yeah, there's a lot of cool podcasts that I'm excited to get into. So it'll be a lot of fun. 12 PST, just so you know.
Yes. So I just wanted to just remind everyone, Nick's got his YouTube, probably his 4th or 5th or 50 billionth one that he has got. So do go and follow him on his YouTube. It is under Good Line Films, not under the Bad Cheap. It's had Good Line Films. So please hit Nick up, support his Good Line YouTube channel, building that up. We just set it up recently, and he's got his last few interviews from the guy from the Matrix.
Ooh, yeah, we got Tom Althouse. He's kind of like the first regular. He wrote the original Matrix, and he's just pulling out his hair for the last 10 years trying to get the record straight, because Sophia Stewart is the woman that they use as a psyop to keep it all silent. Warner Brothers is filled with corruption, and they've really shown Tom the evil end of their stick. They've killed his kids. One has survived, and he said I could direct the original Matrix script, which is called The Immortals, and I'm gonna. That's a fact. I don't know when, but shit, I don't even know, man. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, go and support him there. Thank you, everybody. Love you all very much. Hope you've enjoyed this. Do go and check Good Lion, and yeah, peace, love, light, and all of that. You've been awesome.
Love, peace, and chicken grease. Do you ever watch The Pest? That's what he would say. But I'm not eating chicken, really. I'm just eating bison. I'm just eating a lot of. Speaking of which, bye, son. Bye.
Do that. Do you know, Nick? Just sorry, somebody just made a comment. I really loved Laura's idea. Isn't she amazing?
Yeah, she is. She cool. I like her energy is like a big fire.
She is, and she's got so much wisdom, and I just really resonate with her energy, just because there's just so much going on with her thoughts and the things that she's downloading, I suspect. But you can really, really feel it, and she's very intuitively led, but it's just this warmth and kindness. So thank you for tuning in. If you've come through Laura's channels, if you're here from Nick and myself, we love you, and yeah, please share this. I think this was a really kindred show. I've really enjoyed
show. When's your next one?
The ASEA one. I'm going to put that. The one that I did with the guy from the Hare Krishna movement last week in India, where he was sharing his story. It's the first time I've done that. I've had lots of people approach me to share their stories. And then they would back out last minute, because it is difficult to talk about this. It was very brave and courageous. 143 Nick. It was very brave and courageous. Would love for you to watch that and support him, just by, I don't know, whichever way you feel you can, just with leaving some love on the comments for him. Because he was really nervous when he was saying what he was saying, and he was just talking, and
oh, you're right, yeah.
And it's going to kind of like be shared in the Indian community, and people are waking up, and it's quite difficult for people who go to this temple, the Hare Krishna temple, and to learn of the things that happen. But it's not the actual teachings, it's the establishments, it's the institutions that run it, it's the people. It's not about the Vedas or anything like that. It's just been so fractured and intercepted with this corruption and this dark stuff that happens in these boarding schools and in these religious fraternities, that, you know, he braved it up and decided to speak about it. So if anyone wants to watch that. But anyway, I want to leave it on a positive note. I love you all, and Nick, you're great.
Thank you. Let's do this more often. We have a lot to say.
We do. We're going to have the Nick and Alpa show. I'm going to have my spiritual rants on the Good Lion, and yeah, we will continue. We should really do the WTF.
Can we do something where, like, maybe I talk like you for a second and then you can talk like me for a little bit?
My American accent is just terrible. Could you see me?
Can you speak Californian? Can you do a little bit like, hey dude, what's up?
I can, but I'm not as brave as you on screen.
You're braver than me, baby. Just dig deep inside of you, baby. You've got this, baby.
I think people have had enough of us. All right, everyone. I love you. Thank you so much.
Yo, shout out, Kick. See y'all later. Bye, everybody. Come to my podcast Friday.
Do that. Bye.